tinfoil hat. Trust the science, bro. All right, well, what about my eyeballs? What about what I'm looking at?
I can go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore.
You can tell it's real because it looks so fake.
Space Force.
We still have comedy, though. We still have great comedy out there. There's always Ramblin' Joe Biden.
Come on. This guy is a dog whistle about as big as a foghorn.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Oh boy! Say, do you want to go inside my clubhouse? I charge $50 for a hot dog.
Well, you know, the aliens could be showing up any day now.
Dude, this guy's an alien.
What up, Mother Earth?
NBC News has learned that disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein is dead.
You won't release the Epstein list, so you're gonna freaking imprison Andrew Tate?
You're living in the Matrix, man.
There is no spoon.
Here's the one.
I represent science.
You will own nothing, and you will be happy.
Hack human beings to go under the skin.
See if allergies. Good.
I like turtles.
You were talking to Jeremiah, and just the way you delivered when you said, so you're telling me that 45 years ago we shot a rocket into space? Dude, and I just lost it. It was just hilarious the way you said that. You really think we did that? You know? So anyway, that was funny.
Well,
good stuff.
Thank you. No, yeah, Jeremiah's great. We didn't really talk. Keep going.
No, he's just great. He's just great.
Dude, yeah, he's the best. We didn't talk conspiracies really at all, and so I didn't know where his head was at. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
right.
So I was like, all right, I got one for you, dude. So in the '60s, we got a rocket and shot our way up to the moon. Yeah, okay.
And planted a flag that never moved. Stuff like that.
Dude,
anyway, it is
yeah.
what it is,
I wasn't gonna get straight into conspiracies. I was gonna save that for like the middle, but
yeah, not just anything.
I want to talk. What about this eclipse hype, dude?
You know, we've been hyping it up here at the school. You know, at Haviland for like 2 weeks, and you know, you gotta have these special glasses. Da 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 da. And my kids were pumped about it, and I go walking outside at like 1:45-ish, because that's about when we were supposed to experience it and whatnot, you know. And I kind of walked out there, and I was like, really? This is it? You know, it just looked like a cloud kind of went by just a little bit, you know. And it was darker, not gonna lie, a little darker, but just kind of seemed like a cloudy day. So
did you have any glasses or anything to help you see it?
I didn't. I just was smart and just, you know, didn't stare straight into the sun. You know, I remember it was like one of the first things I learned. I don't know exactly what age, but I mean, I bet I wasn't much older than 3 when they.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. It's like the one day or the one time out of the centuries or whatever, the decades, where being a welder comes in handy. Because I just went outside and was like, okay, that's it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's California.
Could you really see it pretty well?
Oh, clear as day. Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was actually pretty cool. Like, yeah, like I went out at probably, it said it was gonna start at like 10:14 a.m. my time, and then max out at like 11:15 a.m. And so I went out at 10:20 because I'm like, anyways. So I go outside and I just look up and I'm like, oh yeah, there it is, cresting over, and it was in a welding hood. It was cool.
Yeah, I bet you have one of those. So I did not have my hands on one of those. I should have just talked to Neil over here.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
hey, can I steal one of those real quick?
Jam him up.
But, yeah, I wasn't thinking.
My wife wasn't either. I told her, I was like, babe, come, because I got extra hoods at the shop. I was like, come grab one, because I want her and my daughter to be out on the trampoline looking up at it.
Sure.
But she was smart. I came home and she had cut into a cereal box, like this opening, and then I don't know how she did it. And then you just put saran wrap over it, poke a small hole so the shadow of the sun comes in, and you see it verbatim exactly what's going on in the sky. And
dude,
I was impressed. I was like, okay, babe, you got some redneck ingenuity.
That's some engineering right there, dude.
Heck
That's
yeah.
good stuff. I like it.
Well, let me do a little intro for you, man.
Yeah.
This guy right here is Brad Lingafelter, and I met him back when I was in like junior high. He was the high school basketball coach, and yeah, this guy's just solid. He's the mayor of Haviland, Kansas, the town I love.
There you
And
go.
he's also, I don't know, you like, even the emails you sent me, I was like, man, this guy's pretty, he's pretty involved. Maybe he won't want to talk about conspiracies. You know what I mean?
No, man. I'm one of those guys, man. I have my opinions on things, and I'll talk about whatever, man. It doesn't matter to me. I like to be I like to consider myself, I'm not really a conspiracy theorist. I feel like I have common sense.
Exactly.
And so I look at things and go, really? Like, are we sure that that's legit?
I'm glad you said that.
Being proven wrong, and I really like blunt conversations. And so yeah, I'm open to whatever. And at the end of the day, some people are going to get upset with me for thinking something, and then
right.
At the end of the day, who that's on them.
I know.
I think I'm a great guy, and I think I'm fun to be around. And I guess if someone doesn't like what I say, and then they're like, I don't like that guy.
That's all right.
I guess we ain't hanging out. I guess you won't be at the barbecue. Then you won't be at the barbecue.
That's how I feel too, man. That's how I feel. I go through life with the same mentality.
Yep.
I'm here to have a good time, man. I'm here to have fun with people I love, and I don't really judge too many people, man. I accept all. Come on in. What's up?
Man, I want to be friends with everyone if I can.
Yeah, same here,
that'd
dude.
be great. And that's, like with the mayor stuff you're talking about, man. Man, I'd love everyone to love the mayor of Haviland, Kansas, and be like, man, I'm moving back to Haviland, Kansas, like you, or someone else goes, man, not that they're gonna move to Haviland, Kansas to be around Brad Lingafelter, but I don't have that big of an ego. But at the same time, someone's like, dude, that guy's pretty cool, dude. We got a pretty cool mayor. Then my job's been done. So
that's what's up, man. No, I'm stoked to move back to Haviland when I do. And I
your
hope
mom
you're
was
still the
talking about
mayor.
it the other day. Yeah, your mom was talking about it the other day. I forget who she was talking to. Someone. She said a couple years, 3 years, 4 years.
Back? Yeah.
That's all she said. Yep.
I got a little bit of time. I'm doing my thing in Orange County, and I'm trying to learn how to enjoy life wherever I'm at. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And but I do miss the community. That was like one of the reasons I brought you on. Like, well, there's plenty of reasons, but like I wanted to talk about small community and how small towns, like, a lot of the city folks, they make fun of the small town, and they're like, well, what's there to do? And like, I'm like, how many people do you talk on a daily basis? You probably go to work, you deal with the people you get paid to be around,
right?
And then you go home, you go to a gas station, fill up, probably say a couple words to the guy inside, probably not in SoCal.
Right.
And then
right.
you go home and you're with your family, and I mean, the city moves on around you.
Yep.
So not too much interaction with people, but small town, you can't leave the house without a wave.
Yep.
Without somebody seeing how you're doing. It's pretty special. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's community.
The amount of times I'm just sitting in the living room and all of a sudden my front door opens and I'm just like, whoa, hey, what's up? Type of a thing. And you get to the point where you don't even flinch really. You're just like, oh man, who's stopping by? This is great, type of a thing. And so I don't know if I should say this. People might start trying to find my house, but man, I haven't locked my house or my car in like 20 years.
You clearly don't listen to murder podcasts.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, though.
Yeah,
and, dude. It's just a whole different. It's a whole different mindset. It's a whole different. Just everything. Because I went to college in Phoenix. I had gangbangers across the street. I found one of their driver's licenses one time. I don't know what they were doing, but it must have fallen out of their pocket or whatever, right behind my car. And so where our apartment was, we'd walk out the front door, we'd have to walk down the sidewalk and then walk behind. That's where we parked, was behind. My wife used to honk when she'd get home, and I'd walk out there and then walk her in, you know, whatnot. And it wasn't that it was super dangerous or whatnot, but it was just to be safe, you know. And I remember one time finding that driver's license, just like they were obviously in the back of our apartment complex, right? And I knew the guy, and I had talked to him before, you know. I mean, they weren't just walking around like flashing gang signs and stuff like that. But they were just always together. I remember walking over there, and as I'm walking up, there was like this sense of, well, what's this white guy doing coming walking over here? You know, it was a Hispanic gang, and I just walked up to him. I said, "Hey, I think down like so and so. I don't remember what his name was." And they're like, "Yeah, he's right here." And I said, "Hey, I just found this on the ground. I just wanted to give it back to him." You know, and the guy was like, "Oh man, that's really great. Da, 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 da. Hey, do you know anywhere where we can get a job?" And you know, and all of a sudden I started talking to him, and I was like, and here's this guy that I'm kind of a little leery of. And then he's just wondering, man, is there a place to get a job? I need to get a job and whatnot. It was hilarious because he ended up being a cook at the Christian college I was going to at the time. How hilarious is that? You know?
Did you get him that job?
I did.
Nice,
I did.
man.
I just walked in and I was like, "Man, can you cook?" And he goes, "Man, I love to cook." And I said, "Okay, man, let's do it." And you know, and I don't really know what ultimately ended up happening with him, you know, but he was there the whole last year I was there, you know, and we'd wave from across the way and whatnot. And that's kind of always been my thing is I'm kind of bold. Nothing spooks me too terribly much. And I'm not afraid to say, "Hey, how can I help? What can I do here to help you?" You know. And now in that case, I didn't actually ask what can I do to help. He just happened to ask me, and I sat there for a second and was like, "Actually, I think I do know something. You know, can you do this?" And I mean, I think everyone around him was like, "What's going on right now?" You know. But he ended up, and he worked there. And he would work every morning, like he was there early, and he was there mornings. He did breakfast and lunch. And I'm telling you, man, the guy was in there like 6 a.m. every morning, and walked out of there about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I was just like, I don't know that I necessarily had a whole bunch of preconceived thoughts, but that wasn't one of them. He was going to get up at 6 a.m. and go cook at a Christian college all day. At Monday through Friday.
Was he all tatted up? Like, what did this guy look like? Just
oh yeah, pretty decent size. I mean, he didn't have too much on his face, but his arms, you know, even down onto his knuckles on his hands and stuff like that. Oh, yeah, he was pretty. But you know what was really cool was our head cook that worked in there was this old lady, and she was just one of those that, you know, man, she lived it up. She lived a rough life, got saved later in life, and is one of those people that at the Christian school where she was just like, "Man, this guy ain't gonna shock me none." So it was like the perfect marriage. Perfect. You know, it wasn't like someone who just graduated with their doctorate in Christian theology and was going to be possibly offended or who knows what was. So it was just, you know, but that's kind of always been my thing. I'm a networker, you know, like I sit there and go, you know, I need this. Who do I know that could help me do this, whatever this is? And then when someone asks me and, you know, for something, I'll be like, you know what, I think I can do that. And that's what I've been loving about small town life and Haviland being the mayor so far. And it's only been since January, but the number of connections I've already made with other mayors, you know, I just jumped in and said, you know, because you don't get paid nothing, you know, for the amount of work I've already, I mean, well, you get paid, but
nothing.
Yeah. So I bet I'm making about, my wife actually, she's like, "Why do you spend so much time on this stuff?" And I'm like, because A, we need more businesses, and B, we need more homes. That's why I'm working on this stuff. And she was joking with me. She was like, dude, you're getting paid 63 cents an hour right now. With the amount of work you put into this and what you get paid for the month and whatnot. And but you know what? I love it. I love reaching out to people, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, you know what? You should talk to so-and-so. They did this. So I'll be like, yeah, all right, let's do this, and I feel like there's some projects moving down the tracks already, and in just a few months. So I don't know.
You'll do a phenomenal job, dude.
I went from this is one thing you'll find out about me. I went from the driver's license behind my car to all the big plans I have from Haviland, Kansas right now. It's pretty good segue right there. You're welcome.
There you go. Was it just your upbringing that made you be this way? Like, did your mom and dad like in high school were you always driven?
Yeah. My mom's very outgoing. Never met an enemy in our life. My kids, they think Grandma Jerry is the best, because you can't walk away from her without feeling like you are maybe the coolest person that's ever lived, type of a thing. And so there's a little bit of that. My dad's a big time business guy, banker, retired banker. Went through like 4 or 5 mergers, from a little bitty like Citibank to a state bank, to a regional bank, to a national bank, and ended up retiring from Chase Manhattan, which is actually an international bank. And, all these kept on getting bought by a bigger bank and whatnot. So that's his background a little bit. And so, playing a lot of sports, being athletic, learning a lot of leadership from sports. I just think that, I like talking to people, and I don't mind asking questions. I don't mind saying what I think, and I don't mind if I say something that and someone goes, Brad, that is stupid.
Yeah,
and
I'll
be like, yeah, you might be right.
That's me a lot of the times, dude. Like, but I don't mind it either. You talked about Phoenix. Is that where you were going to college? Okay,
that was Arizona Christian University.
I like Arizona, actually.
Love Arizona. Oh man.
But I work with a lot of guys that are blasted, tattooed head, all that stuff. A lot of felons like work in the welding industry and construction, and for the most part, they're all good guys. Like,
yeah,
if I saw them in an alley, I'd question it. I'd be like, but like, it's funny because like for the most part, I'm their boss, and they respect me, and like they're very respectful guys. If anything, some of the guys who aren't felonies are the worst. You know what I mean? But
you're right.
But there's always a chance. That's what I love about life, dude, especially given the time, is everybody could have a redemption story. You know what I mean?
Oh, man.
And that story about your buddy who's a cook is just one of those, I love hearing those.
Yeah.
That's cool. You're the mayor. That's sick. I plan on coming back. I was talking to you a while back, and you were talking to me about welding. You're like, you want to weld or teach welding? And I was like, yeah, of course I could do that. And so it'd be cool if it played out what you and I were talking about back then. Is there still a foster system that might go down in Kiowa County?
That's what we're trying to do. That's the other thing, I'm the founder and executive director of True North, which is the home for foster care kids. And man, I tell you, I do have to be careful on this one.
Okay.
It's tough when the organization that's supposed to want to help kids puts up so many roadblocks to helping kids. Like, we have the house. We've been told by everyone and their grandma in the system, man, we need this. We don't have places to put kids, like the lower level people, the people boots on the ground who are trying to get kids into homes and trying to do stuff. And then you kind of go up the ladder, and all of a sudden you start to find people who are like, well, the fire marshal needs to come in and look at this. And we're like, okay, well, that's fine, you know. And then they nitpick apart like 100 and some odd year old home. And you're just like, so let me get this straight. We have kids that are currently sleeping in offices and in whatever. How old are these offices? Is it fire marshal compliant? Is, you know, these are the things that I want to do and just go off. It's mind numbing, actually. It's absolutely mind numbing that we can't just open. You know, I mean, the house isn't a fire risk. You know, I could see the fire marshal coming in and going, okay, this house isn't going to fall down anytime soon. There's enough exits. You know, I get that. But we had to put in a $30,000 sprinkler system, in-home sprinkler system.
So the grass has to be good?
Yeah. And so, and you know, so we're trying to go through lath and plaster to put all this stuff in. So it's not even up in the ceilings. It's just running along the walls, you know, these like salmon colored pipes that you can see throughout the house, just, you know, and you're just, I walked in there and I'm just like, 30,000 for that, huh?
Oh, you're saying sprinkler systems for fire?
Yeah, like an in-home sprinkler system for a fire. Yeah.
How big is this home? Yeah. For a second, I was like, wait, they put in a $30,000 grass system?
Yeah, I don't know. Did you remember Robin Johnston?
Dude, I'm so good with faces and I'm the worst with names.
Okay, so, well, you know where the youth building is right now. Haviland Friends Church, and then across the street is the youth building.
Okay.
The new youth building, and then
yeah. Oh, right, yeah, that big house.
Right behind, yeah, the huge house.
Married couple used to live there, and a couples used to live.
The couples lived there for a little while. Yep, you're exactly right. You're exactly right.
That's the house?
Yep.
That's a beautiful home.
Yeah, and it comes with like 4 other apartments that are on it. You know, so
the ones in the back.
Yep.
I welded those stairs.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. So that's what I'm talking about. You know, that whole place. So
okay, that's cool.
There's, you know, and so we're still trying to do it.
We'll keep it up. I know you'll do it.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny?
Gotta raise
is like
money. That's the biggest thing. So all your rich people who are watching right now, you know, they're just send money. So no, but it's just seriously, it's kind of a money game, and then from there, you know, and then it's so backwards. Listen to this. Let's say I'm a welder and I want to start a new welding business. Okay, tell me how much sense this makes. What I need to do is go and get my degree or my certifications or whatever. Okay, that makes sense, right? But then I have to buy my own building. No. Let me back up. I don't get my certifications. I do all the work, but I don't have my certifications yet. Okay. In order to get my certifications, what I have to do is go buy my building, go buy all my stuff, hire people and have ridiculous background checks I got to run, train them on 18 hours worth of stuff, and then I say, hey, is that good enough for you to give me my certification now? Because that's what you have to do to open a boys' home. Like, I haven't even applied to open the boys' home yet. Okay. So what I had to do was get all my certification. I have to hire people, train them 18 hours worth of stuff, get all this stuff paid for, buy the house, and then you send in the application to see if you even get chosen. You know, what if they say no?
Well, you have it just shows the character of your heart, though, dude. Like, I'll brag on you on that, because like you don't have to do this. You don't have to, but there's something that's tugging at your heart, telling you to do it, and I respect that.
There's been times where I've wondered why I'm doing it. You know, where I'm just like, dude, I could do a lot of other things. You know, I could still be teaching. I could still be doing quite a few other different things. And so
there's that, you know, people who listen to this podcast hear it all the time. It's my favorite quote, or the Bible verse: at the proper time we'll reap a harvest if we don't give up. And I live by that verse. I love that verse.
There you go.
And so I think there will be a time where you will see the fruits of your labor, and you'll be like, dang, God, this is why you had me stick it out. So keep at it. keep at it. And
I need to hear that.
Yeah, keep at it, dude.
Days.
I plan on helping you out. I plan on helping you
go.
out once I'm back. I plan on, you know, like I'm gonna take over Neil's welding school, or at least work with him.
Yeah.
And then eventually, when he goes to South Dakota, I'll take over that school, and I'll
Yeah.
make sure that any boy or any man who or woman who wants to learn how to get certed out. Because, dude, I'm telling you, man,
go ahead.
I went to a trade school for 20 grand in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yep.
I make around 120,000 a year now.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, I didn't need all this education. I just need to be willing to work and willing to put in the time to practice the welding to get the cert. But there's it's not super easy to get there. But most kids who have nothing could get there off of a trade school. But yeah.
And I think it'd be, you know, I mean, and now I'm kind of marrying the boys' home and then the mayor side of things. You know, one of the biggest things with foster care, one of the biggest indicators of foster care, there's two: poverty. Okay, poverty. You know, when you don't have enough money to pay for stuff, you're going to do stuff to make money. And when you're going to do stuff to make money, it might not always be legal. You know, it might be a little reckless, it might be whatever, you get in trouble. Okay, so poverty hurts. But then what the biggest thing that leads to poverty is lack of education, lack of having a marketable skill. The poverty levels once you graduate from high school significantly drops. Then if you go get your associate's degree or a trades degree, it drops even more. You get a bachelor's degree, it drops even more. You get a master's degree, it's almost non-existent. You get a doctorate, you know, go ahead. Yeah. And, you know, and all that type of stuff. And, you know, and so from a boys' home standpoint, man, if you could even get them interested and, you know, this is something that I could do. You know, and then maybe you help them as they age out of the system, go to Tulsa Welding or go to Flint Hills Technical or
go to Logan Welding, baby.
Huh?
Go to Logan Welding.
There you go, or Logan
You
Welding.
know what I'm saying?
Well, okay, so that's the boys' home side of it. So now let's marry the mayor's side of this. I think, this is me, and I've never talked to anyone at Barkley about this, but here's my thoughts. And then I'll tell you the same thing I tell everyone. Man, I'm an idea guy. And I always tell people, man, tell me it's a dumb idea. That's cool, man. I'll have another one in about 5 minutes. So, you know, I won't even take that personal. But I think Barkley should open a trade school.
Yeah, they're starting that nursing program. Yeah,
a trade division. You know, where kids maybe can come and learn to be an electrician, learn to do HVAC, learn to do welding, learn to do plumbing, learn to do.
Can I tell you a little story?
Yeah.
So I was studying missions at Barkley when I realized I wanted to be a welder.
Yeah.
So I had I missed this professor's name, but he's awesome. He did missions. Dang, I want to remember his name, but and I loved him, and he's like, okay, Dr. King, actually it was his class.
Okay.
He's like, okay, I want you guys to basically come up, like, I'm going to pick a country and you will talk about how you'll spread the gospel there. And I got Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
And so I instantly, first of all, I looked it up and it's like, there's Muslim police who will throw you in jail and possibly kill you just for having a Bible. And I was like, well, this place is going to be tough. You know what I mean? And so I looked into, okay, what kind of jobs are there? And the number one thing that popped up was like jobs for Americans. And that's what I looked up, and it was welding. And it was 200,000 a year. That's what I saw. And I was like, I've welded in high school. What's this? You know what I mean? And
all that gas out there, all that gas pipelines and stuff.
Heck yeah. And so I did my presentation, and my presentation basically said, you know, the best way to gain trust with somebody is probably working next to them. you know, becoming close to them, becoming their friend, and then sharing the gospel with him.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure, you know, he won't narc on you or whatever and send you to the Muslim police. And so anyways, that's how I was like, dude, maybe I should go to Tulsa Welding. So that next semester I went to Tulsa Welding.
There you go.
So it was through Barkley that I got pointed that direction. But
yeah, and that's the thing. So I mean, someone could graduate with let's say they graduate with a trade degree, but let's say it is a missions degree, and they also take an electrical class, a plumbing class, you know, enough to be dangerous, you know, enough to walk into any situation and go, you know what, I could wire that up.
Exactly.
You know, oh, I could plumb that. I could you know, how you know, like Haviland Friends, when we send all of our stuff out to when we send our kids to Mexico, you know, they go every other year. I assume you've probably gone on.
I loved it. My favorite time of my life.
There you go. And so, and that's what everyone says, you know. And sometimes you're in a little nicer area, a little more city, but then there's been a few times where it's more rural, and you know, the things that they have to do, you know, I sit there and go, they don't have what? They don't have running water. They don't have this, you know, and how amazing would that be to have a missionary who could tackle some of those things,
exactly.
You know? And so I look at that with Barkley and go, you know, and Barkley always struggles with numbers, always, you know. You know, when I was coaching basketball there and with the girls and stuff, you know, I used to always have this funny saying where, you know, Barkley's and, you know, people will say Haviland's in the middle of nowhere. And I said, no, it's not in the middle of nowhere. Like, we know where we're at, you know, we're just in the middle of somewhere, because you just don't know where it's at yet. But my philosophy was, and this goes back to small town living, if you can just get them over the railroad tracks, just get over the railroad tracks, man. And then the town will sell itself and the school will sell itself. And it was like clockwork, man. When I was recruiting the people who I could get over the railroad tracks to come visit, I liked my chances of closing with them.
That's awesome.
You know, the ones that just looked me up on Google Maps and go, you have how many people? Like, 670, you know, you know, and who knows what it was then. They're like, man, that's too small, you know. And I'm like, well, here's the deal, man. You can walk into the gym anytime and get shots up. You know, can you do that in Houston? Can you do that in Phoenix? Can you do that in Kansas City? You know, wherever, Wichita even. And so Barkley has so many draws, and I think it could keep some people local around here better. You know, the new education degree has kept more local people around where you know, they realize, man, I don't have to go as far away to get an education degree, because that's a huge degree right now. This new nursing degree, nursing's huge, and if people don't have to go very far to get it, you know, I think those are all good things. And you know, I'm not here to do Royce Frazier's job for him or anything. He does a good job by himself, you know. But to me, man, if we could throw in some trades, man, that would be. And you know, I don't know what it takes, because I don't know. Like, could you teach at a college?
I could easily. So I could easily do the. I mean, I'm not trying to boast, but I'm one of the top welders in our local. Like, I'm the guy. Like, I'm teaching guys. I'm teaching my peers how to do stainless steel, and they went through the apprentice program. And I can't get too far into the weeds on this either, you know, because I can't talk crap on any of my union stuff. But but I just feel like if you gave me the reins, I have the proper way of teaching, at least the welding side. And I'm also getting into the plumbing. Like, I'm looking at the plumbing side, because I want to replumb my mom's house when I move in. I want to get the showers. I want to do it all. So I got my homies on the welding or on the plumbing side. So I'm learning that. And then electrician work. I will dive into that eventually. I'm just real caught up in, you know, HVAC systems, because I'm kind of the guy, you know, for our stuff. So like, I can't just bounce around, but when it comes to trades, just like you were saying, Barkley, I think, would be the best place for it because I believe as missionaries, we kind of, we have, especially when we're young, like you get a kid straight out of high school, he goes to Barkley, studies missions. That's fantastic that you can recite the Bible and that you can know all these amazing stories of Jesus and share that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But what are you really bringing when you come? Are you going to be a burden or are you going to help?
Yeah.
And so like I just feel like trades, nursing, education, those three things just fall in line perfectly with missions.
Yep.
So I've always thought that ever since I went to Barkley.
Yep. 100%, man. I think it's and I don't have any clue what it would take to do something like that.
You just need a shop. You just need a shop, dude.
I mean,
just give me a shop and give me some pipe.
About a 5,000 square foot, 50 by 100 building, and then just.
I don't know if you heard, but there's an abandoned high school not too far away from Barkley. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we can figure it out.
You think that's good enough to do anything that you'd need to do from a shop standpoint?
First of all, I would want to knock down that old shop and build a big shop, and I'd get the Hardingers involved, and we'd throw up a steel building real quick.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to the machines and stuff, I'm sure I could get grants from, you know what I'm saying, like from even the state, and and not only that, but I would try to tie in the UA, which is my local, the union.
Yeah.
To like have them be UA certed so that way they could just, if you're UA certed, you can go anywhere in this country, Canada and Australia, and you'll have a $57 an hour job. And then probably by then it'll be like $70 an hour. But
unbelievable.
But yeah, our brains, you and I are just spitballing ideas, but yes, they can happen.
I love it.
Well,
I love it.
How many kids you got? Sorry, we're going to segue to
That's all right. Let's do this. I have 7, 6 biological, and then 1, Jude the Dude, that we adopted out of the foster care system. So we have 7 kids. And so they range from my oldest, who now teaches at Haviland grade school now. She's the first grade teacher and went to Haviland grade school, starting in, what grade was that? I think she was a 3rd grader. When we had lived there at one time, and then we had left for 2 years and we came back. I think she was a 3rd grader. She might have started kindergarten at Haviland grade school, but then she came back as a 3rd grader, and now she's back. So she's 26, 27. She'll be 27 this December, and then all the way down to 7. Jude the Dude. And we got Jude the Dude at 8 weeks old when he came into our house. And I'll never forget, that's a funny story because you can't have trampolines if you're in foster care. Yeah, because they're dangerous. We do not want to talk about foster care. But it's dangerous, even though it's fun and you got all the stuff around it. I mean, you'd have to jump 12 feet in the air to clear the thing. And, and if
I got
you do
one
that,
in my backyard. Yeah.
Yeah. If you do that and get hurt, man, more power to you. Cause that's pretty impressive that you can get all the way over the net and everything,
That's a big super bounce.
Right. So anyway, Casey called me and said, hey, there's a little one. He's 8 months old. He's coming from like Jetmore area, Hodgman County area, right? So it's about an hour and 15 minutes or so. And it's just me sitting there, and we have this humongous trampoline. Like it's like a 20-foot, octagon trampoline. And I'm just like, wow, okay. What are we going to do here? And so I remember I just called a couple local Barkley guys that I knew at the time. And I said, hey, what are you guys doing? And they're like, well, and it was a Wednesday night. So my wife, who's the children's pastor, is gone. And a lot of people help her. So they're all gone. And so I'm just calling people. And I finally, I don't even know if you know him, but his name's Corey Erickson. Does that name ring a bell? Okay. So he was a local kid, high school kid, same age as Sierra, my second oldest. And he just calls up a bunch of people for me. and says, "Hey, I got 8 guys, so we'll be right over." I'm like, "Okay, man." And we literally picked that thing up, took it over the fence, and then Brent Holland, I don't know if you remembered him.
That sounds familiar.
He drove a truck, and so he's my neighbor just to the, what is that, east of me. He always said, "Hey, if you need to put that over here," because he's a redneck, and he's like, he doesn't like the state, he doesn't like anything. Because, man, you just put that trampoline in my yard anytime you want to. They can come over here and jump on it. I don't care. And so we did. We picked it up, moved it over there. And what's hilarious is they all knew that was our trampoline. Like, when they would show up, this people from the state would show up, our kids would be over there jumping on it.
Okay.
You know, we're like, it's just, you know,
good neighbors.
Neighbor lets us use the trampoline. He's about 60, no kids, got a trampoline.
That's awesome.
You know,
that's awesome.
And stuff. And so anyway, so with him, we actually had to move that thing out and whatnot. And then, man, it's weird. He came in, and we were just all completely hooked, you know. And then you go through the process with mom, and there was no dad in the picture, and just after a while, it's such a crazy story. And then, yeah, so our youngest is adopted out of the foster care system. And outside of the fact that he has white blonde hair, you would not know he's not a Lingafelter. You know, he's got the attitude, he's got everything. So,
I mean, having him at 8 weeks, did you say 8 months or 8 weeks?
8 weeks.
Oh my gosh. He's yours, man. You know what I mean?
We're the only people he knew, you know?
Yeah. Good for
and
him.
He knows he's adopted.
Awesome.
We've been very open about that. Because the really cool thing was his whole family was actually from Omaha, Nebraska. And this is a God thing. His whole family's from Omaha, Nebraska, including his mom. And that's where he was born, was in Omaha, Nebraska. She moved to Jetmore for some reason. I don't know if it was a guy. I have no idea, but she was there. She got in trouble, and then when Jude got taken from her, well, now he becomes a ward of the state, even though 7.5 weeks of his life he was in Omaha, Nebraska, and his whole family's in Omaha, Nebraska, and whatnot. And so he's got family, and then he's got relatives. I mean, this is crazy. I don't know if I can say this part because there's not that many lawyers in Pratt, but they're related to a lawyer in Pratt. Okay. And they all come down, like the whole family comes to Pratt, Kansas for family reunions. So Jude has still gotten to stay involved with his biological family outside of mom. You know, mom's still not in the picture. And all his aunts and uncles, all his everything, he still gets to go see him. So it was like impossible to keep it from him that he's adopted, you know?
Okay.
And he gets it. He understands it, you know? And he's just like, you know, he told me one day he was talking about stuff, and he'll be sitting there and he goes, "Dad, I'm a Lingafelter." I said, "Well, yeah, of course you're a Lingafelter." You know, I didn't know. I was probably looking at my phone or something. Just, you know, he's about to, break something down here, and I'm just like, "Oh yeah." You know, and then he's like, "No," he's like, "I know my mom's got a different name, and my aunt, they have a different name." He said, "But I'm a Lingafelter. I love you and Mom." And I was just like, "Oh my goodness, man."
Yeah.
You know? And so, so anyway, Shayna down to Jude, 27-7.
Okay, big family, man. A big family. I'm inspired by you. My wife's a great mom. I need to have more kids, and I think we're trying, and so I want to have many. They're not easy at the end of the day, like especially my 3-year-old, she's me, and she is wild, and she's sassy.
They're the best. They're the best.
Yeah, that's what you know, we're going through it right now with her attitude. You know, 3 temper tantrums is always fun.
Yep. Oh yeah.
and trying to teach him because you're scared. You're like, are you going to be like these blue-haired girls who freak out over everything? You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm like really trying to nip it in the butt, and then it doesn't work, and I'm like, dang it, I think I got a blue-haired girl.
No, it works. Trust me.
Okay.
Stay consistent. Stay
I
on
will.
it.
I will. I can't help it.
Yep. And my second oldest, Sierra, she is a mini me. And I tell you, man, I mean, I love all my kids and whatnot, but there's just her, and then my current 11-year-old right now is another mini me. That's Selah. So the two of my girls, I mean, we don't even have to say stuff, and we'll start busting up laughing. We just need to look at each other like something's going on, and we'll just be like, okay, type of thing. And we have the exact same sense of humor. I know, like I'll say something to Sierra or Selah, and my wife will be, I said my mom, it's kind of the same thing. But my wife will, my wife will be like, you can't say that. And then Sierra's like, she just rolling laughing. Right. And I'm like, no, I can't say it to you. I can say it to her, because she's going to get it and whatnot. And so those little ones that are just mini me's, they are so great, and sometimes the ones that are more like, then we got some that are pretty good mix that I wouldn't say are me or Casey, are just a mixture.
They're their own. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the ones that are just like my wife, I'm just like, my goodness, because they get annoyed at the same things my wife gets annoyed at.
Yeah.
And so sometimes if I make one of them mad, I make both of them mad, type of. So but I'm a very, very blessed guy. Got an unreal wife and really great kids that have all done, my 4 oldest have all gone out to college, the Ozarks, out in Branson, Missouri, of all places.
I love the Ozarks, man.
I tell you, it's amazing, and it's called Hard Work U, and they graduate debt free. Shayna's a teacher right now, no debt. Sierra's a nurse, no debt, 4-year nurse too. So I mean, you're talking getting paid $70-$80 an hour.
Oh, dang.
Crazy.
What is Hard Work U? Like,
well, it's College of the Ozarks.
Okay. Sorry, I thought it was like.
Yeah. No. That's just their
system.
That's like their motto is Hard Work U. And so you go there and get jobs. Like Shayna worked in the restaurant. They have a restaurant there called the Keeter Center. It's a 4-star restaurant. And the only reason it's not 5-star restaurant is they don't serve alcohol. Okay. And so it's a 4-star restaurant. The food's insane. And so she worked in there. Sierra, we always joke with her about her right arm being, her whatever this muscle is. See, I don't lift weights, so I don't even know what these muscles are here. Yeah, right there. What's that one? Your forearm?
One of the Popeyes. Yep.
There you go. Yeah. She scooped ice cream at an ice cream parlor that was a part of the restaurant. She did that for 4 years, right? And
some hard frozen ice cream.
Yeah. Seth is the head of the student union. So he's in charge of all the games that go on and getting the fans there. And Chick-fil-A is a huge sponsor of the college itself, not just their athletics department and stuff. And so like he'll bring in like 300 Chick-fil-A sandwiches. First 300 people there get to have Chick-fil-A and, different stuff like that. And then Shelby, she's a freshman there now, and she works in the cafeteria making desserts.
That's cool.
And so these are the type of things they'll do. And the school makes money off that restaurant. They make money off that ice cream. They make money off people coming to the basketball games, all that type of stuff. And so they pay their kids to work there, pay their students to work there. And sure enough, graduate no debt. Seth graduates this year in May, and he'll have no debt too. And he's going to go right into his master's degree.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, master's degree, and that'll be the only debt he has is whatever he gets.
How big a school is it?
Oh, I bet it's got 3,000.
Okay, so it's still pretty.
It's a pretty decent sized school. Yeah. It's an NAIA level school, and so that's the same size as Friends. That's in Wichita and stuff like that. host the NA. Well, it did. I don't think it does anymore, but it used to host the NAI national tournament. It's just in the same place. It's like its own town. You drive onto campus. I mean, it's got a mill. Like they mill their own flour and all this stuff. They got their own farms with cattle and stuff. It's an ag business degree. You can get an ag business degree. And so these guys will raise cattle and crops and all this stuff. And like, that's the meat they use at the Keeter Center. That's the milk that they use to make cheese. And they got a clinic. They got a post office. They've got, I mean, it's nuts. It's nuts.
The apocalypse
cool
hits, man, that school is going to be just fine.
Yeah.
What's the full name of that school, just for anybody listening? Because I got some LA listeners. College of the Ozarks.
Yeah.
Okay.
COFO.edu. COFO. COFO.edu. It's
all right,
insane.
Dude.
It's I hope they hear this, man. I might tag them in this and be like, hey, by the way. Of course, I don't know what I'm gonna get because my kids graduate for free. Like maybe I can eat the Keeter for free.
Yeah, dude, get a filet mignon.
They have a prime rib. I'm not kidding, dude. That thing's about this thick. It's like 20 ounces.
Yes.
Stupid.
I was gonna build a smoker this week because I have all the stuff to build it. I was like, I don't want to buy a $1,200 Traeger. I think I could build it. And I was looking with my boss. I was gonna have him make a blueprint. He's like, well, what do you want? I was like, this, and he was looking it up. And there was one for $179. Like that, I was like, never mind, we won't build it. I'll just get that one. I'm excited to buy that thing and start smoking some meat and getting down. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you, I'd love to learn how to do that. I love grilling, but I'd love to get into the art of smoking stuff.
Same here. I watched that Barbecue Showdown on Netflix, and I'm like, dude.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And the listeners can't see it, but I don't miss a lot of meals, and so I'm a big fan of flavor.
Heck yeah, dude! Spices is my thing.
Yeah, give me and then we get one of the nice things with KCB and working for the church and stuff is we get a lot of these farmers that will bring us hamburger and steaks and
nice.
And for whatever reason, one of this last times we got like 4 briskets, and I don't know what you know about briskets, but
they're tough to cook.
And you start reading about it and it's like, dude, there's a whole science to this. Like cut off this part of the fat and then cook it like this and then rotate it and do this because the meat, like there's 2 different types of meat in there that are going 2 different directions. And so for this part, you got to slice this way. So you're with the cut of meat and this one you get, and I'm just like, I think I've been eating brisket wrong my whole life.
Yeah. I don't know anything either.
Right.
Same here, dude.
But I've tried. It still tastes good, but I'm wondering if I could unlock a whole nother level.
Yeah. Andrew Lofgren, I always see him on Facebook. I don't know if you follow him. Do you follow him?
A little bit. Yeah.
I think he's out in South Carolina. I don't know where he's at. He's got a beautiful home. He's got some kiddos and he's always smoking. And he's been my inspiration. I keep seeing him on Saturdays, like all this, like you said, like all that food. And I'm like, all right, Andrew, I'll take a note. I need to get me a smoker.
Right.
But to segue into conspiracies, do you think that I've heard that they've been injecting this mRNA vaccine into cows and into the food we eat, but I still personally, I don't think that can affect us. Cause like, I mean, it's just going through my digestive system and then out my butt, you know what I mean? Like, how does that work?
Yeah. I've heard that one. And I don't know enough about the mRNA stuff to know. Well, let me back up. I know enough about it to go, I don't really want it in my body. Like,
same.
I don't want some like little microcomputer type gene or whatever it is, or, like looking at my body and going, you know what, you need a little more of this. Oh, no, I really don't. Like, let's just chill. Just get out of my system, I'm one of those anti-vaxxer people. And it wasn't because, I wasn't someone that was like, the government's not going to tell me what to do. You know, it wasn't anything like that. I just sat there and listened to everything and went, yeah, this doesn't make sense. you know,
Yeah.
No, you know, and then people are like, no, just take it. I'm like, yeah, but you just made it yesterday. Like, you know, you tried it out on some kid and he died. So I'm not, you know, I don't.
Yeah, dude.
I'm good.
I know. I know.
I'm going to take my chances. You know,
see this,
and I've had COVID 3 times, and it sucked every single time.
Yeah, and it'll suck again, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yet, the funny thing is, like, whenever they're like, man, like people forget our memory is pretty, you know, quick and gone.
Yeah.
And the ploy to get the shot, that one senator who's like, this hamburger, these fries. Oh, you're saying I get a shot and I get this hamburger and these fries? And it's like all the little tricks and all the little things. I was the same as you. I was just looking at it from just a common sense lens, and I was like you said, this came out yesterday. Normally, from what I've heard, it takes 10 years to approve any vaccines.
Right.
I think I'll wait. I think I'll sit on the sidelines on this game. I think I'll watch the players.
Just for a second. You know, let's see. Yeah. Let's see who's just walking down the street keeling over for no reason, you know? And you know, and you've seen it with some of these really healthy athletes, you know. And I was reading something one time that they said the thing that they won't tell everyone is every one of them has had the vaccine shots. Some of them more than one, you know. And you know, it's you know, and I'm not against anyone who did want to take it. Like COVID was, like, it was no joke. It, you know, I'm not one of those people that go, COVID wasn't even real. No, it was definitely real. You know, it was bad news. And then that whole idea that this piece of cloth was going to save everyone around me. You know, and these people that are losing their mind because you don't have, you know, because I didn't even walk around with a mask on, you know. And once again, it wasn't just a flaunted. It was just like, I legitimately don't know how this little cloth mask is going to help any of us. You know,
what's funny is I took a class in 2022 for clean room process pipe, which is stainless steel, and it's like you have to wear, you know, the hair apron, the beard apron, a full-on apron, some things over your shoes. And anyways, they handed us a pamphlet. I'm in this class to take this class to get this certification.
Sure.
And the first thing that they give us is that there was a guy, like, they give us examples of how it's gone wrong if you're not clean. And it was a guy who goes inside of a rocket, and they had a clean processing system going for the people building it. One guy, like, they had masks and everything, and one tiny little droplet got on a chip. Like, they figured it out, like, after launching it, that was the malfunction, was this droplet from spit from a guy, mask, all that stuff. And then they go through a mask and, like, what a mask prevents from getting out. And the smallest thing that easily gets through was viruses. The smallest of small is virus. And they're like, oh yeah, those get through it, like just about any mask. And so, and like I said, it was in the height of it all. And so I was just like, I even raised my hand to the teacher, and I'm like, we were wearing masks. And I was like, so, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, can I take this off?
Yeah, you should have been like, so I currently have COVID. What is this doing right now? That's what you should, you know.
And I get it. I was in South Korea in 2017, and the city of Seoul, like, they had.
Didn't they have like a bird flu thing?
They right now?
No, back then I remember they had some crazy pandemic over there that was like this horrific bird flu thing. But anyway, go on. Sorry.
No, you're good. I can imagine something like that has happened at Seoul. It's packed, dude. I've never been to New York, but I've been to London. But they say Seoul is just an insane amount of people. And I was with Lane Kindle, and I was like, Lane, why do they all wear those fabrics around their face? And he's like, It's to, if you do have a cold, it kind of stops it a little bit. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay. But it was like a fashion thing, like these beautiful women and tall men, like all of them in suits wearing them. And I was like, I'm gonna
Right.
get one. So I
Right.
got one. I got one and I wore it around. I personally thought it was for smog because the smog was really
Oh,
bad.
sure.
And Lane kind of was the one to tell me, it's kind of a respect thing to do. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, 2019 December of 2019, I found that in my sock drawer, and I was like, I'll never need this thing. I threw it away, and
Threw
then
it away.
freaking less than
And then
3
the
months
world
later,
came
everyone's
to a
wearing them.
crashing halt in
Yeah,
March of
it was
2020.
funny. Well, yeah,
Speaking
exactly.
of Lane Kendall, dude, that guy works for, who's that? That Crowder guy?
Louder with Crowder, Steven Crowder. He's the main researcher.
That is insane. I
If
remember
you
Lane
listen,
back in the day.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
if you listen to Crowder's podcast or watch his YouTube channel, like anything that Crowder presents, Lane is the one who stayed up at night researching it,
Researching it. Yeah.
and kind of briefing him, and then he goes and does
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a cool thing, man.
Yeah, Lane
And
Kendall's a stud.
I like Louder with Crowder.
Yeah.
I like, and it's not even that I agree with everything he says. I like people who just, man, this is what I think, and here I'm gonna throw it out there, and then why can't we now talk about it?
Right.
That's what I think we've lost out on. Is people dig in, and then it's like, well, Andrew doesn't believe what I believe, therefore Andrew hates me.
Right.
And like, I'm going to immediately jump to that. And it's like, or we could just not agree with each other.
Yeah,
And that's okay. And we
it's
move
been
on.
done.
Yeah. And we move on, and, I like Peterson for that, now he's actually hilarious because that guy's a psycho. Jordan Peterson, the
guy who talks really, really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he absolutely does not care if you agree with him, because he's like, dude, I am so much smarter than you, that the fact that you don't agree with me just proves how much smarter I am than you. That's just his whole shtick right there.
Yep.
But I love like Joe Rogan, who will have people on that are all different walks of life. And he will just go right at him like, nah, man, I think you're crazy. This is what I think. And then they'll say something to him and he'll go, huh, I haven't thought about that. And then he'll start asking questions about that. Like I look at Joe Rogan and think to myself, he's trying to learn.
Yep.
Like, I think every single podcast he has, he's like, I have my beliefs, but I'm open to hearing what you have to say, and I find his stuff fascinating too. So anyway, yeah, I didn't mean to get off on Lane Kendall there.
No, you're good.
That was just cool.
My wife, she doesn't like me and her. She's very quiet about the things I'm loud about. So like with the vaccines, chemtrails,
sure,
all those things. Like I'm really like, yo, what is this in the sky? But she's very quiet and she's just motherly and she's creative. She does like parties but she's very quiet on these subjects, but she will tell you that she is a quiet Joe Rogan fan. And I think Joe Rogan, because I'm like, keep listening to him. But he's cool. I've been listening to him since 2014. My buddy, when you weld, dude, and you're under a hood, I used to just be under a hood all day. All that, you get sick of music. You're like, all right, I want to hear conversation. Now it's like a perk of my job. I'm like, all right, okay, I'm gonna build this. Leave me alone for 2 hours. Let me dive into this pod.
Yeah.
But Joe Rogan's the man. He's probably the reason I started working out again, like back in 2015, because I didn't go to the gym since high school. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then he started talking, and that's what I respect about him, and I'll always thank him for that. But I wanted to get into what's your thoughts on chemtrails? Like, do you ever see those things in the sky? Those like those lines?
Yeah, it's not as much out here. Like, I think you see them more in some of the bigger cities and stuff. More so than the chemtrails is the weird times that Black Hawk helicopters and the big Apache helicopters, the big long ones, come just flying right over, you
Haviland?
know, yeah, you know, I bet it's once or twice a year, you know, where there'll be 5, you know, and people are like, oh, Fort Riley's over there. And I'm like, yeah, but but what's out here somewhere? Like, what are they doing out here? You know, there's a lot of nothing, you know, for a long ways. You know, what are they? Are they doing something in some field that no one knows about? Are they practicing some stuff? Are they, you know, what's going on? And so the stuff with the chemtrails, though, well, I tell you what, I mean, just think about this. If someone ever did develop something, well, I shouldn't even say if, there are things that if they got put out into the air system would wreak havoc on people. And yeah, that's a little scary, dude.
I agree.
I don't know that I even try to think about chemtrails too much.
Well, do you ever see, I mean, I know most people listening would be like, dude, they're contrails, Andrew. They're just condensation way up in the sky, and it's just, you know, whatever. You'll see those and they disappear. These ones will like spray out and then they just kind of get bigger.
And yes,
and bigger. And then they kind of just stay there. I don't know about condensation, but condensation goes away, you know, like the whole
Especially
idea.
when the sun hits it.
Evaporates, yeah. And so that's where I'm like, what is this that they're spraying? I was talking to Macklin News on my last pod, and we chatted it up after we recorded, and he's like, dang, I wish I would have mentioned chemtrails, because whenever I see all these checkered boards in the sky, it starts to snow the next day. And I've noticed it rains. It's been raining a lot out here in Cali.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's cloud seeding, you know what I'm saying? Like what you're thinking is pretty nefarious of what they could do. And
I'm telling you, man. That's where I jump to.
Right. And me, I jump to, you know, are we
controlling the weather?
Controlling the weather, like new wars? Hey, we'll flood this area. Hey, we'll hurricane this area. Like, are they just trying to figure that out? So that's the, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to, it's interesting whenever you look into it, but I'm not too down the rabbit hole on it, but I am down the rabbit hole of direct energy weapons. I am.
Oh, and my goodness, yes.
Like the Lahaina fires, I do believe that was a direct energy,
I tell you,
weapon.
There's some, yeah, boy, you dive into that, and man, you start to get into some of the names that are listed that, you know, like the people that had homes around there that have always wanted to have more land, you know, and don't like all the people that live near them, and the fire just stopped at their border, you know, where they own stuff, and you're looking at all that stuff and going, I tell you what, anytime you get into these hardcore musicians and actors and heavy hitters in the entertainment world, you know, the Oprahs, the you know, all these different
Jason
people,
Momoa's,
all these people, right? And then you start hearing about this Jeffrey Epstein stuff, and then it just disappears. And then, you know, this stuff going on with P. Diddy now.
Yeah.
And you know what's going to come of that? You know, my gut says nothing, and someone's going to hang themselves. And you know, and but stuff like all that stuff that's like, there's, you know, that whole Illuminati type thing. You know, I'm not entirely sure if I believe in the Illuminati, but I do believe that there are powerful people that
just call it the World Economic Forum.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. That want to control things.
Yeah.
And I think some of these, you know, you watch that Ukraine Russia war, and if you really follow it, and you know, Russia had a ship that just blew up, and they weren't even real sure how it happened. You know, it was literally just sitting there, and then all of a sudden it just blew up, you know, and what caused that? You know, something with some force, you know, because it was a big warship, you know, and you've seen some of those pictures out of Lahaina, you know, that bolt of, you know, and I'm like, yeah, it'd be real easy to say, well, that's photoshopped, but at the same time, dude, what if it's not?
Here's what people chalk that up as, like, they'll just say it was windy and the power, you know, they should have shut the power off because that's what caught the fires and the wind took over and whoosh. But what's weird is the blue houses that stand, that blue roof. I don't know if you've, and then even in Chile right now, there's stuff going on down there, basically Lahaina, but it's the blue roof thing is weird. And like even Biden in one of his things, he was like, said something like they had the wrong roof. Like even he said something like that, and I'm like, dude, are you just trying to pull our chain?
You know, I mean, I'll just be real honest. I'm not a Biden fan.
You aren't? That guy's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, dude. I'm kidding. Yeah.
I know you are.
Yeah.
But
who thinks he's doing great? Tell me that.
I think there are powerful people who are petrified that guy's just going to start giving out secrets. You know, like he's just going to get in front of a thing and they're going to be like, well, you didn't have the right roof because, you know, you need the blue roof, man. You know, I've been in meetings where the blue roof is the one that you know, and then I'll be like, all right, that's enough. You know, you can't talk anymore type of thing. And that guy.
You know what's funny is
that guy
back on direct energy weapons.
Yeah.
I worked for a company up in LA, a job, and I was there you had to put your phone in a box before you went in, and all this stuff. And we got chaperoned by a guy who's worked there the last 15 years, long-haired dude. And once I get to know him a little bit, I'm like, hey, why do you guys have that all black billboard? Like that's on your roof. It's this huge black billboard. And he's like, I can't really tell you all the things that, you know, they're doing. And so he's like, but I'll take you out to lunch today. So we all went out to lunch. This is a funny story inside this story, but we go out to lunch. I'm in the back seat. He's in the driver's seat. My foreman's far right. And then we go to this burger joint. We get out. And just like you or anybody who opens up their back door, you open it up and then you close it, right? Okay. Well, this guy had his hand after he opened his door and I opened my door, he had it in the middle frame.
Yeah.
So when I closed the door, it crushed his hand and he's like, screaming. And I opened up the door and I'm like, he's like, why'd you slam my hand in the door? I was like, why'd you put your hand there?
Right,
you know?
there.
Like I didn't.
Right.
It's not something you think about when you get out of the back door.
Exactly.
Anyways, it was a funny story. But so we go to lunch, and he said that they shoot lasers at that black billboard. This was back in 2018. He told me this.
Okay.
And so now that this stuff is surfacing, I'm like, and the company, I won't say who it was because I don't want to affiliate that, but like, I'll tell you off air. But yeah, it made sense. And I was like, oh, I mean, I believe that they have it. And a lot of people sitting back right now listening to us, like some people are kind of like, okay, direct energy weapons, ha ha ha. But I'm like, man, they do this stuff. Like I've personally helped a company that does that kind of stuff.
You can never underestimate the power of humans to think up crazy stuff for one, and then the ability to keep it quiet. You know, and yeah, I think there's things around us. You know, my wife's cousin is he was a computer genius, right? 6 foot, 85 pounds. Right. I mean, just this beanpole, nerdy, Coke bottle glasses, right? You know, whatever. Gets recruited into the military. And I'm like, you know, I'm like, babe, I don't want to be a jerk here. But there's no way that this guy's going to make it. You know, I mean, seriously, I mean, and he's a great guy. Like, I love him to death, you know, but I'm like, come on, you know. And sure enough, that dude comes out 6'2", 200, chiseled, just and he was a computer genius. Okay. And that's all he does. He sits there on the computers, and there's been things that he's talked about. There's like, oh, I could get into that if I needed to. You know, if the United States needed me to get into that, whatever that was, yeah, I could do that. You know, and I joked with him, and I was like, dude, what did you do to like to look like that? I mean, it's not just, you're not just eating and lifting weights. Like, I mean, he doesn't even look the same, you know. And he's like, no, it was a lot of eating, he said, but we also get a lot of drinks that they'll put into the like when their meal came out. And then like we had these red drinks, and we had these, you know, and they tasted like whatever, and they get, you know, no one questions it. It's like Kool-Aid, you know, type thing. And he's like, I don't know, it tastes good. Look at me. It might have had steroids in it. Might have had you know, whatever. Like he didn't even question it though. And I was like, okay, man, okay, you know. I don't know. Have you ever heard of the app Marco Polo?
No, I have not.
Okay, it's a crazy app. So basically, if we're in the same area, like say we're in the same gym, okay, like we're all in the same watching basketball game, someone can say something in that gym. Anyone who's got the Marco Polo app, it will, and is within a certain radius, it'll say. Sometimes it
whatever
says
he wrote.
Sometimes, yeah, okay. It'll just pop up, and so people can talk about stuff, and you don't even know who you're talking to, but you just know they're in the room, right? Okay. Or in the area. And so there was a time that my daughter was playing basketball, and someone was saying stuff about her. You know, she sucks, right? And it's popping up on this thing. Well, we didn't know about it at the time, but Shelby gets on the app later on and sees this stuff, and Shelby, and she's hilarious. She does not care one iota what anyone thinks about her, you know. And so she'd be like, she's like, look at these people, they're idiots, you know, and whatnot. Well, my wife does care, right? And so she called Eric, that's my well, her cousin. She calls him up and is just like, what do you know about this? And he goes, give me a few minutes. And he was like, I can get into that. He said, I can find out exactly what phone it came from, you know, stuff like that. And so I say all that to say, here's this guy, like, there's a couple things here. Guy's a genius. Why he would ever be on the radar of the military, being 6 foot, weighing nothing,
80, yeah, and
they like recruited him, right? And then to bulk up like that, and then to be like have the training to do whatever he want. Like I just don't put anything past our military.
Yeah, same here,
I don't
bro.
put anything past our government. I don't put anything past a bunch of elites saying, you know what, we kind of want the island of or the city of Lahaina, and so let's blow it up.
Yeah.
Let's burn it to the ground.
Yeah.
Because I want a burial yard.
That's where I'm at too. And for anybody, CIA, anybody listening, I'm a good man. I'm just here to have conversations and have fun. Like I'm an crazy idiot welder. Yeah, exactly. It is crazy stuff. And like, that's why I enjoy this idea of being a small podcast and not being like Rogan or just some big influencer. Because if I was, they would shut me up, man. And like, you know what I mean though? Like,
it's crazy what, you know, when Joe Rogan got COVID that one time, and he took that ivermectin stuff, and then basically got on his podcast and said, or the hydroxychloroquine or
what he
whatever.
What he did is he filmed it and he said, hey, you know, I'm on day 3 of having COVID. I took this, and ivermectin. and then CNN ran with it and put a filter on his face on CNN to make him look yellow. And they're like, this guy's taking horse dewormer and like really going after him.
Right.
Which is crazy.
And it was just, if you would have done the same thing, I mean, ain't nobody
nobody
cared, you know, but they lost their mind. And I remember looking at, because you know, that was before I realized that they were putting these filters on them and stuff. But I remember looking at him going, man, Joe, I don't know if it's working, dude. You're you're kind of a shade of yellow that
you look like Shrek.
Yeah, I don't necessarily. He did. He looked like a pale Shrek, you know.
Exactly.
And I was just like, this is terrible. And then I saw something later that's like, no, this is actually what he looked like, and he looked normal, you know. I mean, he sounded like crap. He sounded like, dude, I can't breathe. I'm, you know, you know, but you know, and that's, boy, you want to talk about conspiracies now, you know, talking about the pharmaceutical drug industry, you know, and this whole thought about, dude, did we cure cancer 50 years ago? You know, there's a guy, and I wish I knew his name, but I've watched a couple of things that he's done where he's like, dude, just go read this book. You can get it from your library today. It's this book right here. Da, 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 da. You need to take B17 if you want to kill cancer, you know, and you know, all this stuff, because we had this figured out 50 years ago, you know, and they shut him down. They shut that doctor down, and they said, no, this guy's crazy. There's not enough evidence, and this, that, and the other. And, you know, that you want to talk about, you know, and to bring this full circle with DCF and saying that, you know, this is the group that's supposed to help kids, and they make it harder. Well, you know, the pharmaceutical drugs are supposed to help people get better, right? And, you know, I think they keep them sick sometimes.
The kids?
Just
I call the pharmaceutical system in hospitals just a revolving door. I do agree that modern medicine is amazing, and like when you are sick and you 100%. do take a steroid to get rid of it, or whatever what is it? I don't know why I can't think of it. But if you have a sinus infection, you take antibiotics. And then it goes away. Sure. Like I'm not knocking the modern medicine. I'm knocking this, hey, Xanax,
those
oxycodone, I don't know about all vaccines, but most vaccines are just a money grab, and like everybody's just trying to hit their quarter.
It's almost like they mask symptoms to keep people just sick enough to keep on coming back.
I know that revolving door, dude.
on the heavy things like cancers, and
diabetes,
diabetes, all that.
Hey,
stuff.
don't eat healthier. Just take this pill. Just take Ozempic.
Just take this pill. You know, that's what's really interesting. So my daughter is a nurse, and then my son-in-law is actually gonna go and become a nurse practitioner, which is in essence a doctor. But he's going into like the healthy living side of stuff, and so he's going to be more of a holistic natural stuff, and they already do that now. And like they make their own kombucha, they do this raw unfiltered milk stuff, you know. And I'm just like, you know, when they first started, I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna buy the milk from the store, you know. But the more I've sat and been educated and listened to her, I'm kind of like, man, we got anywhere around here that has some raw unfiltered milk and stuff like that, you know. So much so that, you know, talking about Haviland, man, I kind of want to, you know, is there a way for Haviland to become a homesteading community without having a bunch of homesteaders? You know, because we don't have the space to have just a bunch of homesteads where everyone's got their own cattle and their own crops and their own chickens and their own da 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 da. But what if we had people who could do that stuff, and you could get all your fresh meat that's local? You could get your fresh eggs, you could get your fresh milk, you could get your, you know, fresh stuff like that. How cool would that be?
You guys need to do a once a month. You guys need to do a once a month or twice a month farmers market, even if it's small. Like just people with like that connection of like, oh, you got beef? Okay, I'll quit going to Walmart. I'll go to your house.
Amen.
I'll pay you.
Amen.
And then, oh, okay, you got, I don't know, fresh whatever. And just to start eating first locally, just to know, hey, we can sustain. And then second of all, you know where it's coming from, so it's healthier.
It's way healthier.
I'd much rather do that like a farmer's market in Haviland than go to Pratt to even if it costs a little bit more. Yeah.
Or Dillon's. Yeah. Even if it costs, because I mean, if you save the money on thinking about, that's 40 miles of gas. So, you know what, what, $7 in gas? Is that a couple gallons of gas?
Yeah.
So
I was
now out where you're at, it's probably about $15. I don't know. Out here, it's about $3.50 a gallon right now.
Yeah, it's pretty expensive. It was at the beginning, but like when Biden got in, it was like $7.20. It was ridiculous. But I was up in the San Francisco area like 2 years ago. My wife's cousin went to school at I want to call it like Boston or something, but it's not that. It's something with a B, and the town was cool. It was a cool town. It was small. It reminded me of anyways. So it was a small town, and she's like, "You guys want to go to the farmer's market today?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's go." And so we went. We took my daughter, and they had fresh honey. They had all sorts of cool stuff, like this
and
fresh apple
easy
juice
to make. Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
my father-in-law made honey.
He had bees.
Yeah, he's got the whole thing.
Clearly.
He's got it sitting in the house right now, man.
Has he still got bees?
He's not hooked up and stuff, but anyway, yeah. So it's not even hard.
See, I think we don't have to adopt it completely, but I think it's a healthy thing to at least have it as a part of your life. That Haviland's farmers market should be a thing. And whether it's once a month, once every 2 months, just something to get people connected. Like, hey, I could buy my meat from you. I'll do that. You know, or I can.
And it helps the local economy. Because what you want to do is I thought long and hard about this as from the mayor side of things, is the more you can create an economy in which the money that's spent here is respent here and circulates here, and my $10 that bought this meat, that farmer spent his $10 to
at the Barkley basketball game.
Buy some whatever, and then that person spent $10 to go to the Barkley College basketball game, and then Barkley spent $10 to give back to this, and all of a sudden that $10 has done $100 worth of work in the community, and so there's it's been exciting being designated an e-community. That's something I've been working on. And an e-community means it's an entrepreneur community. And so that opens us up to new grants and stuff like that. You remember Gary Warden, the old grocery store, and he had all that just stuff. I'll call it stuff, all that stuff in there, right? Well, the city bought that. And they've been cleaning it out. That's 5,000 square foot of what are we gonna do with this? What are we gonna put in here? Is it a farmer's market? Is it we're talking about putting a commercial kitchen in there and allowing people to rent out the kitchen for the night because they want to make hamburgers and sell hamburgers and French fries, and then people can show up. We got the barbers, Sean and Shelly Barber. They do pizza. And if they brought in their pizza stuff and maybe they one night a month they sell pizzas right there out of the commercial kitchen, and people know that, hey, tonight I forget what they're called. Is it dough ball pizza or something like that? I forget what exactly. I should know this since I'm the mayor. I should know everything.
Doughboys? No.
Yeah, dough ball.
No, sorry.
Okay. Something. And but if people know they're doing that out of the, will they go and support it and whatnot? And so there's just a lot of really cool things that I think we can be somewhat agile with. I think we can give it a shot, see what happens. We need to be more self-sustaining, and I think we can be. And I think we need to try and be self-sustaining in Haviland, like I said, where that economy, where that money circulates throughout the town. And then the next thing is do keep our money in the county so that the county keeps on circulating money, and then from there keep the money in the region where the money circulates in the region, and kind of be like kind of a hub area economy. And I think this dairy is actually going to be pretty huge. All the dairies and all the cheese factories and stuff like that, because it's bringing in so many workers.
Is there like a dairy factory getting?
Yeah, it's gonna.
In somewhere
you
close?
know where Mole Farms is, north of Haviland, kind of.
Isn't that where the Stevens live? Like up.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I've heard of that.
And so it's kind of, so you know where Felsberg is, I assume.
Yeah.
The Negrettis lived out in, I don't know if you remember the Negrettis at all.
All of that sounds familiar.
Yeah, but anyway, Felsberg's north of town, and out there the Rowan-Baws live out that direction and stuff like that. But out that direction between Lewis and Haviland, there's a humongous. There's gonna be a humongous dairy.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then they're putting in a just insane cheese factory in Dodge City. It's just gonna be like one of the largest.
Okay.
In this area, well, definitely in Kansas, but like even for a few states. And it's Hilmar cheese, which is a major brand of cheese. And so in order to produce enough dairy, enough milk to do this cheese factory, there's gonna be like 5 dairies in like the 4 counties just right here, you know. And each one of those, you know, I don't know exactly how many, but I want to say there's like maybe 70 to 125 workers per dairy. Well, where are they going to live?
Beautiful.
You know, where are they going to spend their money? Whether they live here or not, where are they going to spend their money? You know,
right.
and so you got this ability, if people are out in front of it, to capitalize. And,
I wonder what you could build. Like in Haviland. You know, like one of my cool memories of as a kid was like going to Pratt. I don't know where it was, if it was in Pratt, but even just like a outdoor movie theater, something you just slam up, and then then people can drive up to and watch a movie, and like a legit movie theater, but a drive-in. Like that kind of stuff is cool, and like simple things that can make money.
Yeah.
And
we have a kind of an economic development board that we're working on in Haviland. It was a group of people that was originally put together to figure out what we're going to do with that new building that I was just talking about. You know, once we get this old grocery store, what are we going to turn it into? And so we meet and talk about, okay, what's good for Haviland, you know, this, that, and the other. Well, one of the guys on there, he was like, man, we need to find a place where we can put up a screen and have movies and have people drive up and do a drive-through. And then someone else was sitting there and they're like, yeah, and what if off to the side you had like this mini putt-putt thing that's just like 9 holes, and it was just, you know, and all of a sudden we're sitting there like,
yeah.
You know, but what's sad is you immediately go, that'll never work. You know, and I'm kind of like, but what if it does?
Yeah.
What if it does work? You know, I use this example, and I may have told you this before. I don't know. I've used this example before in Wall, South Dakota. So this is up near your mom's neck of the woods, okay? Because Wall, South Dakota is about halfway between like Chamberlain, South Dakota, and Rapid City area. And so it's a little bit before the Badlands. The Badlands is still a little bit to the west of this, but there's I-90 runs through there, which connects New York and somewhere in New York to Seattle. Like that's I-90, boom, runs all the way across the northern part of the United States. From New York to Wall Drug and from Seattle to Wall Drug, they have signs that say like in 19 hours, free water, Wall Drug. And it's like a like a soda shop, but then they have since turned it into like a knickknacks and souvenir place and a restaurant and all this different stuff. But so basically, as you're driving along, and it'd be like every 100 miles, it'll be like in 18 more stoplights, stop at Wall Drug, free water, right? And so both directions, all of a sudden you get to Wall Drug. What do you think people do?
They get some
Well,
water.
they stop. Well, they stop. They don't even necessarily want to stop.
I wonder if it's just a subconscious thing from seeing it constantly.
Yeah, but they're like, well, I've got to see it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You know?
Heck yeah.
And I heard those people sold that shop for millions.
That's great marketing. That's cool.
Because it's so packed all the time, you know, and stuff like that. And, you know, I have this crazy idea that, you know, north of 54 here in Haviland, you know, we don't, you know, the Jaxa stuff flooded not too long ago, and just kind of cleaning that out and cleaning it. And man, I'd love to have a whole area there where people could pull off the highway, and we've got a food truck court. How cool would that be? Like, you just have this humongous area with like 9 food trucks, and you just pull off, and people can, because dude, who doesn't like food trucks? You know,
I dig food trucks.
Yeah, I don't know anyone who doesn't like food trucks. You know, now I could see you being like, I don't like that kind of food truck. But if you had 9 different options, man, and you could be like, man, what am I feeling today? Yeah. And but then
what do you do?
Advertise it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because 54 is already I just got the stuff the other day. I got it from the Department of Transportation. See, I'm telling you, my wife would agree. I'm doing way too much as mayor. And not getting paid enough.
That's 69 cents is going a long way.
So this is the best 69 cents an hour that these people can get. But you know, it's I got the numbers, and it's like daily, there's like 5,000 cars that drive right in front of here.
Oh yeah.
Daily. You know,
54 is huge. It's like
what if you got 1% to stop, that's 50 people. Right?
I like where your head's at on this.
50 people. You get 1% to stop in and spend money at a food truck court. Now, if there's 10 of them, that's only 5 people. Then, you know, maybe these food trucks don't make any money, but that's 1%. What if you get, you know, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think the truck traffic's going to go down with all these dairies and this cheese factory. I think there's going to be more traffic now.
You almost need something to see though. Like aren't you guys known for meteors?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, set up the meteor with the food truck. So that way it's like, hey, come, you know what I mean? Like, it's got to be.
Yeah. Meteor.
There's no one that loves driving cross country more than me.
Right.
I drove from California to Kansas at least probably 20, 30 times. And it's I can't wait to do it again. And like, since I've had a kid, I've been kind of stuck, you know, because kids suck when it comes to traveling. But nothing's more Americana than that Route 66. And 54 is a cool highway. It's a 2-way, a little dangerous, but you know, but to have something like you just explained in that place in South Dakota, you could set something up over there. You just have to come up with that right idea, that right stop, and all that stuff.
Telling you.
It's a great idea. I love that idea.
Well, and that's and like I said, I've got a bunch of these dumb ideas. So one of them's gonna work. I'm telling you.
One of them's gonna work, dude. Keep throwing them at the wall. Something's gonna stick. I loved having you on, Brad. I got to roll, but
that's cool.
I asked every guest a question at the end. It's like throughout your years, when you're down or when you're up or whatever, is there like a quote or something that you kind of has rattled around in your head that you like to tell yourself?
Yeah. So, and I use this in all of my time I've been coaching too. It was a coach who told me this one time because he was talking about, it was a basketball coach I had in college, actually. And You wouldn't know it now, but I used to be somewhat athletic. No, I played basketball in college, and whenever we learned something new, it's always hard, and it's always hard in any discipline. When you first started welding, I bet you weren't very good at it. When you first started, and one of the things he used to just preach at us all the time, when we were learning a new skill or we were struggling with a new offense or a new defense or he would always say, do what's right because it's right until it feels right. And you can put that into any aspect of your life. You just, this is hard, but do it anyway because it's right. Do what's right because it's right. And then after a while, if you do it enough times because it's the right thing to do, it'll start to feel right. And you'll start to get good at it, or you'll start to accept that, that old way I was living wasn't right. And I've been making enough good decisions that now I wouldn't go back to that old life, because why would I? I've stacked enough good decisions here. And so, he used to say that all the time. And man, I use it when I'm coaching now. Do what's right because it's right until it feels right.
That's awesome, dude. I love that.
There you go.
I'll put if you want me to put any socials, if you have an Instagram or anything, I'll throw it on the show link.
Sure.
But for anybody listening, give it a 5-star rating. And that's
Amazing.
it. Take it easy, everybody. Thanks a lot, Brad.
Yep.
Peace.
Well, if you ever plan to motor west, Jack, take my way. It's the highway that's the best. Get your kicks on Route 66. Well, it winds from Chicago to LA, more than 2,000 miles all the way. Get your kicks on Route 66. Well, it goes from St. Louis, Joplin, Missouri, Oklahoma City looks so pretty, you see. Amarillo, Gallup, New Mexico, Flagstaff, Arizona, don't forget Winona, Kingsman, Moscow, San Bernardino. Won't you get hip to this kindly tip, Jack, and take that California trip? Get your kicks